Following on from our communicating with volunteers session, we now go into how we actually do that and the ways to motivate volunteers. The first thing you need to know is that volunteers are very different to paid staff. So volunteers, rather than getting paid with money, are paid with fun, with enjoyment, and also learning and continually to improve. So I'll go through several ways I try to do that. So firstly, what I did was send weekly emails. The purpose of the weekly emails was to remind people that that the planning is continuing, that there's lots to do, but it's all getting done. So here's a quick example. 5 days out from the event, I was still pushing volunteers to continue selling tickets. I tried to keep it fun by adding a little poem. And also, and here you can't see it, but I put a picture in. Yeah, I guess those little things that were just to purely make it interesting, make it different, and make it fun. Here's another example. It was just a update on how things were going. 320 guests, 8 ministers, and just by telling volunteers, what a great job they've done, they usually continue to be very motivated. What I sent around on a weekly basis as well was a sales update, so letting guys know how many tickets were sold, how many more we need, and I also included tips on what's working and what's not working, so everyone's armed with the skills to sell. And here in all my emails, try to just try and be very enthusiastic, be very happy, and always thank everyone. Okay, and then also what I mentioned before in communicating with volunteers was weekly coaching. So something that we did was have face-to-face or Skype meetings every 1 or 2 weeks. And in eating, we always included a section around strategy. Tell people effective ways of selling. We also shared ideas on what had been working and what some volunteers thought was a better way to. Other things are goals. So people are motivated by 2 ways. Either they're trying to reach a goal or they're running away from something which scares them. And the way I'll try to motivate my volunteers was keep reminding them of the goals. So finding 50 volunteers, finding celebrities, and selling 200 tickets. And then creating a bit of an environment where everyone's working together to achieve the goal can be very effective. And the way we did that was, we formed teams. So we had teams working towards, their own little goals as well. Other ways is we motivated volunteers through coaching was giving them selling tips. So understanding the cause. It's very hard to sell something when you don't believe in it. By talking to volunteers about SARTs, remind them about the issue, made them a lot more passionate about it, and for that reason, they were more inclined to try harder to sell. Other things that we did was I had motivational quotes in a lot of my emails. I had a top seller competition going on, so where volunteers were competing to sell the most tickets and get the most recognition. So each week, whoever sold the most tickets, I'll put their name in and tell them they're awesome. And hopefully other volunteers would see that and be motivated to try and beat them in a way. What we'll also talk about in the following training is working in pairs. We found that a lot of volunteers were much more motivated when we're working in a pairing. It's something that by having someone to support them and also to compete with, it made the whole process of selling a lot more enjoyable. I think overall, with motivating volunteers, just always remember a few things. One is to keep it fun. Make sure you're paying volunteers with enjoyment, with goal achievement, with getting lots of things done. And then also um, yeah, coach your volunteers, mentor them, and make sure your managers have the right skills to achieve what they do.